Dreams are solving machine. All those years, they were here for what you say. Oh, that you only meant well, well, 'cause you did what you say. That it's all for the best, because it is what you say. That's just what we need. You decided this, what you say. What did she say?
But if you close your eyes, but if you close your eyes,
put it on the right track, get it right back. The message from my heart is too loud to stay apart. So put it on the right track, steal it right back. It's high time now.
Jay Massey is a full-time real estate investor. He's an entrepreneur.
He also teaches people how to find deals, raise capital for real estate investments.
Meeting Jay Massey in person, you'd think he's just a regular guy. He's got jeans and a t-shirt on and a pair of sneakers. But he's built up a multi-million-dollar empire.
I hope you do have an empty notebook because it's going home filled.
Jay gives back so much value that I've never seen.
Now, at this moment, when I'm looking at the kitchen, things are going through my head.
You want to be friends with him, and he treats you like you're the only person in the room, even though it's for the benefit of everybody.
This is how, when you ask yourself, how does Jay do it? This is how.
He tells people that they have to take action, and they have to take action now. I took the action, and the results have paid off.
What happens when the marketplace understands who we are and how we go out there? Hey guys, how you doing? Hopefully things are going well. Do me a favor. For those of you who are here and you're live, do me a favor just so that I know that you can hear me, that you see that everything is going as we believe it to be going. Do me a favor, just go ahead and clap one good time, and so that way I can know that you can hear me and that we are indeed good to go. So, for those of you who have not been here, say during the week already, and if today is your first day, welcome. Hi, glad you're here, because we want to make sure that you get the information that you need. Now, today, we're going to go fast because I got so much to do and so little time. Here's what I mean by that. People want to know where the money is, right? Because here's it now, and I'm going to warn you about that in just a second, okay? I'm going to warn you about that. Excellent. I see the claps. Thank you. Is that Angel? Thank you, Suzette and Robert and is that Erica? Thank you. Glad you are doing that, have done that, and that you can hear me and that you're ready to go. So, what we're going to do today is help you when it comes to understanding how to access the capital that you need in order to do the business that you say that you want. So that's what's going to happen right now today. All right. So with that being said, I want to cover a couple of basic things. I want to cover a couple of basic things that we've done before. If you haven't already, go get the workbook, right? cashflowdiary.com/workbook. What does that look like? It looks like slides, workbook, boom. It looks like this. It looks like this on the cover. And today we are here. We are here, starting with little or no money. This is the place, right? This is the place where a lot of us feel like you are. Now, with that being said, what I'm going to tell you is that just because you feel a thing, that doesn't mean that that thing is necessarily true, okay? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that the fact that you don't know how to or where to access capital, that capital doesn't exist. Let me say that one more time, but also a slight bit differently so that you can understand the responsibility that's about to happen. If money wasn't an object, what excuse would you leave? Money wasn't an object, what excuse would you leave? Before you are done today with this session, money will not be your objective. And indeed, it never was. It never was. It's not the thing that's in the way. It's how you think about the thing. It's what you think is in the way, but it's not the thing that's in the way. So that is what I'm telling you is, what would you do then? What would you tell your friends? What would you tell your spouse, your kids, your whatever? What would you tell them then if money wasn't in the way? That's a real question that some of you are going to have to answer. And let me explain. When I say have to answer, that somebody in the future is going to ask you, why didn't you? Why didn't you do X, Y, and Z? You were there. Why haven't you this or something? And you're going to have to give a response. And sometimes maybe it's your kid. I don't know. But here's what I do know. The issue has never been the money. I'm even going to show you where to go get some today. And some of you still won't go do it, which will tell you that it's not the money. Okay. And that's really what I'm saying. So you want to begin thinking about what is it that's really, quote unquote, holding you back? What's really slowing you down? What's really keeping you from achieving the things that you say that you want? It's not the money. I'm going to prove it in a minute. Today, we are at the raising capital portion of everything. So tomorrow we're going to be working more on the mindset barriers that exist, because I know that they're there. They're there for all of us. I have them. You have them. We all have some, and that's okay, right? That's completely fine. And then Friday, we're going to be talking about what those next steps are. Now, for many of you, you've already met your concierge, and you know who that is. Some of you, maybe not. And here's the good news. Robert is here. He's in the room, in the chat as well. And he will likely be reaching out to you. Also, I'm here. So for some of you, I'm going to reach out to you. Okay. Either way it goes. What it comes down to is we want to help you. And we want to help you not only today, but beyond today and continuing. But we want to get any other feedback that you have for us in the meantime. But most importantly, we want to make sure that you keep moving forward. So when we reach out, just answer. That'd be great. Okay. Inside your workbook, you see, well, one of the most popular questions: where do I find capital for my business? Now, very similar to what we did yesterday. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but when it comes down to certain things like, say, cooking, for example, cooking, it's a set of directions. It's a list of directions, a list of things to buy, purchase, and things to do in a certain order. There's a recipe. Recipe. I don't know if I spelled that right. Well, so it's a recipe. If I didn't spell it right, forgive me. Anyway, so if you have a recipe, but you do not follow it, what will you make? That's a good question. But there's a name for that too. That's called an experiment. Okay, that's called an experiment. Now, I am not saying it's wrong to experiment. I'm saying, yes, experiment is definitely something you should do. But you should minimize experimentation and I would say isolate it to the resources that are disposable, that you don't care about. So let me say this differently. When you have limited resources, as we do, limited time, limited energy, limited currency, limited understanding, limited manpower, I think you're getting what I'm saying, right? These are all types of inputs, if you will. They're limited. That means, therefore, they're precious. That means, therefore, you should get the most out of them. That means the time to experiment is not when you need them to produce something. You don't experiment with figuring out how to learn to drive when you need to get to work. You've already covered that. That skill set is already there, right? And I want to remind you guys that what we're talking about is gaining the assets, which means you got to have the correct mindset, you got to have the correct skill set, and you got to have the correct tool set. And today, this is where that rubber meets the road. This is where the rubber meets the road. I'm going to give you a script. That means I'm going to tell you what to say. Now, many of you already know that I'm really not going to tell you what to say as much as I'm going to tell you what to ask. Okay. I'm going to tell you who to ask it to. And then you must do, period. So long as you follow the recipe, and we'll be fine. You're going to keep making that progress and keep building that business, right? For the short-term rental business, here's what you need. The ingredients, if you will, are guests, right? You need a location, okay? And you typically need some form of finances to begin to build and run the business. It has to get financed. It has to have and when I say guest, think the word customer, okay? You got to have these things, okay? You need a customer to buy the product or service. You need a place to deliver the product or service, and you need the way to build or fund the product or service. Well, again, a guest is a type of person. The locations are going to be provided by landlords because we're going to rent before we own. And then the finances, sometimes they're ourselves, but often, and what could be a very important and better strategy for many is for it to be other people's money. Now, there's many forms of that, and that's what you're paying attention to today. But those are the ingredients inside your business. Inside whose business? Hopefully you said your business. Meaning, I can't give you guests. I can't give you landlords. I can't give you investors. Meaning, you can get your own guests, your own landlords, and your own financing. You can do it. Now, I'm going to show you what to do so that you can do it starting right now. But first, we need the clarity to understand, what are we doing? What we're doing is collecting guests. Again, these are lists of guests, lists of landlords, lists of places to get capital. And it's very simple. When we do this, all you have to do is just keep checking things off the list. I tried that. I did that. Check things off the list. And if you keep checking things off the list, what will end up happening is that you end up with the business that you ultimately want. Hopefully that makes some sense. Now, I see that we had a question left over from the VIP session. So I want to take care of that real fast. Marvel was asking, she says, you have bought a multifamily 6 rooms and I wanted to use to house military the best and quickest way. To do that is to go to the military base that you're looking to serve. To go to the military base you're looking to serve, find the person in charge of base housing, negotiate a deal with that person. And that would be, I mean, there are other ways, but that's the quickest and best way, because you can go drive over there today, tomorrow. You can meet that person today, tomorrow, maybe by the end of the week, or get on their calendar. And then you got to make your pitch. And hopefully they say yes. If they say yes, great. That's the best and that's the fastest and quickest way. Hopefully that answers your question. But I'm going to say this again. You may want to do a thing, but you also need to listen to the feedback from the marketplace. So have more than one customer type that you wish to serve. We talked about that back on day one. You having your heart set on this and only this can set you up for heartbreak, when the truth of the matter may be that there's a better customer type that you want to serve. Now, we always want you to have at least 3, always. So just know that at the end of the day. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm saying I would rather you stay in business so long enough so that you can develop the proper relationships, as opposed to try to force the military to do business the way you want it done. Because that's the other issue when you're talking about larger organizations. They have a schedule on which they do things, and they may have already planned. They might like, yeah, we'd love to do business with you. In October is when we take in new vendors for this particular service. And therefore, yeah, you're on the list for October. And so, yay, that doesn't solve the problem that you may have today. That's really what I'm saying. So temper your expectations relative to what I've said, but also follow the system, do what's here. So here's my point. We've got to collect lists of guests, lists of landlords, and lists of opportunities to gain more capital. Said differently, we're literally building the proverbial funnel, and we got to run them through the process. Every business does this. They put people at the top, and what comes out the bottom is the result of whatever it is that they produce. And you've got to take the time to do this work. It does not happen magically. It doesn't happen if you just sit on the couch. It doesn't happen just because you want it to. It doesn't happen just because you invest in working with us. Because as I said, there's still work you must do, because we can't do it for you. We can guide, we can help, we can do all kinds of things. You must do certain things. So what are those certain things? Number one is find these customers. Now, here's the good news. Most of you, we're going to recommend that you end up starting on a site like Airbnb. I want you to begin to think of that as an OTA, online travel agency, something other than, something other than, that's really what I'm talking about, OTAs. You're going to use these for one purpose. It is customer acquisition. That's the business function. You do not have an Airbnb business, but they are part of your customer acquisition plan. There are other OTAs, booking.com, which you'll often hear me call BDC, VRBO, etc. This is where I'm going to begin to warn you. It might feel like I already know that. And if you've said that already, I'm telling you, you're in trouble, because you're going to want to keep your mind open for the nuances and the distinctions that will unlock the possibility for you. Now, you're going to start on one of them. How many? One. One is singular. It is not, well, Jay, I know if he said start on one, I'm going to go start on three. No, one. Airbnb, period. Okay. 98% of you. That's where it is. Okay. Don't worry if you're the 2%. We'll tell you 98% of you, Airbnb, right there. Okay. Nothing else to worry about. Please, because we want you to be in action. That's your customer acquisition strategy. The good news is they got so much traffic, you'll be well over 200 in no time in terms of people who are particularly interested, so long as you follow the continued process. Now, since we've got this taken care of, right? Since we got this taken care of. So, and again, this is regardless of which customer type you want to serve. You say, well, I want to do military. Cool. You can do military, but you're going to start right here. You're still going to follow the exact same process as you develop those relationships so that you can do what it is you want to do, so that you can make the money. You are not being more efficient by doing anything different than what I am suggesting strongly. It is not more, it will not make you money faster. And bring whomever told you it will directly to me so that I can tell them that they lied to you and were wrong and show you why. I promise. So here's what it comes down to. Get your guests. Let's get some landlords. Great. Because once we've done this, we're going to get the location, which means we got to figure out what to say to them, how to find them. Now, first of all, they're not hiding. So let's not think like we're trying to sneak around looking in the bush for some person who doesn't want to be found. Notice what I just said. Landlords want to be found. They want to be found because they have a general problem. That general problem is vacancy. That's the general problem. Well, guess what your business does? It solves vacancy. It solves the problem. That's perfect. So when a landlord is vacant, what do? They tell everybody. By advertising it. So notice what we're doing really quickly. I've told you how to get a list, where your list of customers are going to come from. But see, you don't need to worry about their list of customers until you have something for them to look at. So if you want to get them something to look at, you need to get a location, which means you got to find the landlords. So there's a list of landlords. That list of landlords is what you are going to create. We often want to find lists of like a ready-made list. I just want to do a couple of clicks so I can download something and get a list of landlords. Okay. I'm not saying you can't use like a prop stream or some other tool to do that, but it doesn't mean anything other than you have a list of names and numbers. If that's what you want to do, that's completely fine, but it is not the most effective way. I am telling you exactly that. The fastest way. List of landlords. Find those who have a for rent sign. Well, Jay, how do I know that that property is in an area that that I want to do business in, or that my customer does? You don't right now. But that's why back on day one, we decided who you want to serve, because, and I showed you with things like ChatGPT, how to narrow down the neighborhoods relative to the customer type, so that now all you're doing is cross-matching. That's it. You're like, hey, this matches with this. Great. This landlord is in this area where I want to. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. This is what it comes down to right here. You have to make a list of for rent signs. Now, here's how I suggest you do that. Okay. Here comes some more of the recipe. You ready? Once you know who you want to serve, that was day one, what you're going to do is get a map of the city that you want to do this in. And then you're going to create what I like to call areas of interest with circles. Areas of interest. What is an area of interest? It's very simple. It's the area that your person would likely be interested in. If I'm coming for a medical procedure, I'm likely interested in, well, places near the clinic or the hospital. See, we haven't talked about it, but here's another use case. Plastic surgery. All of the plastic surgery. Let me show you how obvious this one is. When you've gone to the airport, which you've done, when you've gone to the airport, you see those medical professionals with the really big ads and the really big smiles. Understand that those same medical professionals, people are flying into your area to see them. And that same medical professional has a person at the front desk. Maybe they call them a receptionist or a secretary. Either way, it doesn't matter. Here's my point. After that person does their business, here's what happens. The receptionist gets one question. Hey, where are we going to stay during the procedure? And you know what the receptionist says? It's like, well, here's a list of hotels. Notice what happens there. They give them a list of hotels and places to stay. What's stopping you from talking to that receptionist? Other than the fact that until I said it right now, you weren't thinking about it, right? That's another way to get a list. Here's my point. With that list, you want it to be near an area of interest relative to the person you are looking to serve. I didn't say you have to serve people doing plastic surgery. I just gave you yet another idea. Okay. And you circle those areas of interest, 2, 3, 4 of them. Sometimes it's the museum, depending on who you want to serve. Business, you want to be near that commercial district, maybe the business district or the industrial district. Your customer is coming to do something. They're not just coming for fun. Now, there are vacation, fine, but they're not coming just for entertainment, is my point. So what are they coming for? And locate them near that. That's your job. You have to choose the area of interest. Okay. Now, once you've chosen that area of interest, watch this. This is where people start thinking. They start outthinking the system. Mind you, I'm going to remind you again, you're trying to get somewhere. You have never been there. I have the map. I am showing you how to get there. because showing you how to get there, well, helps you. Simple as that. Anyway, areas of interest. Then you're going to go to the area of interest. Go to, that's fine, drive over there. But when you get to that area of interest, get out and walk. That does not say, Jay, I drove around there and I didn't see anything. I know. It's because you drove around there and you didn't see anything. It says get out and walk the area of interest. And you know, when you go to that area of interest and you're looking and you're walking, you know what you're looking for? For rent signs. Why? Because you saw vacancy problems. No one puts out a for rent sign if they are not vacant. So you're looking for people who have a problem. The problem is called vacancy. And it looks like it presents as a for rent sign. On that for rent sign, it has a number. That number is what you should write down. You should begin to make a list. Now you've got the name, you got the location, meaning the address. You know where it is, you know who you're looking to serve, and you've got a phone number, usually with a name sometimes on it, of who to call. This is what you're looking for. Now, let me help somebody out. I haven't looked in the chat, but I know what you're thinking. Jay, what about apartments.com? Wouldn't that be better? Jay, what about, why don't I just talk to a property manager? Because, they're in front of a lot of properties. I think that would be better. And, all right, I'm going to run the risk of offending some of you, but understand, you being offended is not my problem. You're here because of what I think, not because of what you think. One of the two of us has proven ideas of what works and can get you the results you're after. There's a very specific recipe. It has nothing to do with apartments.com, nothing to do with a property manager. You did not hear me say that I have a realtor friend. You did not hear me say that. You heard me say area of interest. Go, drive, get out, walk, for rent sign, write down the number, make a list. That you did here. Let me tell you what to do with the list in a second. Okay? But I'm just right now, what's important is you see that what you need to run your business, you have easy, free ways to make these lists, right? Of people that you need. So now let's talk about money. Here is the longest, most sustainable way to build your business that most of you will not do. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now, because you're going to take the path of least resistance until it runs out. And then I'm going to remind you of this path. And you're going to go, I haven't done that. I didn't do that though. I totally understood. But I'm still going to tell you what is the best for the longest amount of time. That way you know it now. The best way to make this list of investors, the best way is to follow this maxim. He or she who educates the market dominates it. Educate the market and then dominate it. That's how it works. Educates the market, you educate to dominate. That's it. So what does that mean? What does that look like, Jay? Here's what it looks like. For some of you, here's a simple way of doing it. Start on social media, simply posting one financial term a day. See, that's easy to do. It's also easy not to do. Financial term per day. Just keep doing that. Start right there. Start looking up financial terms and posting them. A financial term of the day. That'll begin. For others of you, you know what? Maybe this is super advanced, but hey, maybe you already know a lot and you just want to share. Start a podcast. That'll do it. Let me keep going. Next is, or if you want, you can, produce some content, call it a blog. That'd be great. Yes, a YouTube channel would work too. These are all things that are doing one thing, educating the marketplace. You can do these. Here's the number one thing. Here's the number one thing that you could be doing by this weekend. And for those of you who wish to actually take this seriously, you will, and you will have a result. The number one thing is play a board game called Cash Flow 101. And you're going to keep playing it. You're going to set a schedule of playing it. You're going to always have at least 2 games coming, at least 2 games times on the schedule. The day of the week does not matter. It's irrelevant. By irrelevant, it means it works every day of the week. I will say this as a caveat because, man, I found that out. There are some sports teams, if they're playing that day, it'll still work, but attendance will be lower. I found that out with the Lakers. It was the Lakers, and for a while it was American Idol. So it's weird. I don't understand, but whatever. But it still worked. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean don't do it on that day. It means if you do the work, it works. Everything works, nothing doesn't. So you're going to schedule at least 2. This is what you're going to do. I'm literally giving you the blueprint of what to do literally right now. And if you do start this, you can order the game on Amazon. It's like $70, $80. You're going to play the game. Where? Don't care. Play it in Starbucks. Play it at your home on the kitchen table. Play it at a clubhouse in a condo association. Play it in the middle of the street. It honestly won't matter because the game in of itself filters out people who have no interest in real estate, filters out people who don't have interest in things like investing, and filters out people who don't have property. But they want to get into property, or they may already have property. It makes a smaller list of people to choose from. You can tell everybody on a free site called Meetup. Hear what I am saying to you. You can promote, let people know you're doing this for free, build your list, have people who know what it is that you're up to, educate to dominate, to build your list of investors. Yes. Now, does this sound like work? I hope so. Good, because it should, because it is. And everything you do that tries to shortcut that will come back to bite you. Because somebody said, well, I ain't going to do that. I'm going to just use my own money. That's fine. Get started. Get started. Use your money. I want you to. Because when you, and we all do, run out of our own resources, you have to learn how to access other people's resources. That's what entrepreneurs do by default. We take the resources of others and put them to productive use. That's what we do. And you're going to have to learn to do it at some point, or choose to stay small, which is a choice that you are free to make. But again, just because you choose to make that choice, this will still be true. From 0 to 7, it's going to be the hardest right here. Just because you choose to stay small, the marketplace isn't going to suddenly be easier on you. It's just not. The marketplace don't care about that. It just doesn't. Okay. Your job is to make those choices. Once you've made these choices, because that's how you're going to find them, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I'm going to write on the board a number. I'm switching screen so I can put a list, right, of companies and things on the board, because here's another way to access more money. Now, I know some of you're still not going to do this. It's very frustrating because you really want to hold on to I can't because, and all I'm doing is removing excuse after excuse after excuse. And that is, yes, intentional. It's intentional for 2 reasons. One, we're a training company. We want to train you on how to use all of these expert tools expertly. That is something that we want to do. That's why your concierge, part of why they're going to reach out to you, is to help you begin to take faster, more steps. Some of you have made more progress in these last 2 days than you have the last 10 months. You've been thinking about one day I'm gonna. And if you want that to continue, well, that makes sense. It's supposed to. But also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly, like I said, what to do, who to call, that type of thing. And I just hope that you start doing it. I can't make you do it. I can only point you in these directions, if that makes sense. So a lot of the resources that I'm going to write right now, because I got to write them and write them fast, because I want to get to the script and I want to get to the work you need to do right now. Make sure you have your cell phone because you're going to need it. So resources, what they're going to do is they have, what they have is access to credit that they're willing to give to you. And by you, I'm talking to you, even the people who I don't know that are here and watching right now and wondering, why does this guy talk so fast? Is he okay? I am perfectly fine. And you. Notice what's happening in your mind. Some of you said, but Jay, my FICO. I didn't say anything about FICO. But Jay, I was told, okay? And here's where, again, another paradigm. Remember what we talked about yesterday when we were talking about facts, how these facts are, they just are what they are, and yet be based upon your focus. Your focus then skews that fact to maybe a positive or a negative, AKA outcome in your favor or outcome not in your favor. Your belief and your willingness to let go that the outcome is not going to be in your favor is going to determine how successful you're going to be for the rest of this week, okay? Because if you believe, you'll do. And that's all I'm going to say. If you believe, you do. So what I'm going to write are some names of some companies. Here's one of them. You may know them. You may know some of them. Divvy.co is a company. They all of these companies like working with brand new entities. By brand new entities, how much credit history do they have? Someone please shout it, type it in the chat. 0, like a whole bunch of O's. 0, no history, because they're focused on new companies, because COVID. You're like, what? COVID, the money printing, it has to end up somewhere. It's always going to be offered to small business owners. Always. You have to be in position to catch it. Divvy.co. Here's another one. PLASTIQ. Now, mind you, either one of these have the capacity to get you over $100,000. Okay, all of them. But my point is, right now, I'm just saying what you think is a roadblock, I'm telling you is not. I'm saying that you need an EIN. That's basically a social security number for your entity. So LLC, S Corp, something of that nature. EIN, address. You know your name, phone number, and address too. Great, right? So we're not talking something that you could not have done today or tomorrow. It's not difficult to do. It's just also requiring you to believe and to do it. Let me see. Hold on one second. I want to see if I can give you some smaller ones. This one is actually one of my more, I'll call it, what is that? It's one of my more favorite ones. I like this one a lot because it has the ability to help you build a really long-term either business and or personal credit as well. But again, I want you to hear what I'm saying. It starts with you not having anything, okay? You not having anything, okay? It doesn't matter. Momentous Capital is another place. There's a number of credit unions, too many, in fact. To be honest, there's easily 10, 15 of those that I can think of. that I am aware of. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the list to choose which ones I'm going to tell you, because there are so many companies doing this right now because they're looking for, there it is. Because they're looking for so many, what's the word? Small business owners. They're looking for a way to put capital out there on the street. These are EIN. So here's one. I believe it's a FICO 580 or higher. Okay, so let's just start with that number. It is what they call it's a fresh start loan over at a credit union. 1 second, I'll give you the name, and it goes up to 40K, right? 40K, 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 where'd it go? Signal Financial, yes. I have a long list, guys. The issue isn't the money. The issue isn't the money. You do have to have a plan, though. You do have to have a plan, meaning what are you going to do once you have it, right? What are you going to do once you have it? Those types of questions, they're definitely going to be asking that, because they want to know, what are you going to do with the money once you have it? If I give it to you, what are you going to do, right? They just want to know that you're not going to go and buy, I don't know, a fancy car or something. That's really what they're after. These are some of the larger ones. There's a newer one, also called Tilful. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them yet, but you will be, because they're doing a lot of the right stuff. But this one, Divvy, Plastique, Momentous Capital, this credit union with the fresh start loan, Signal Financial, Tilful, any 100, 200, I believe, I want to say it's 50,000, 40,000, Tilful. They say like up to 250, but I've not seen anyone go that far. But my point is, there's more than enough money out there. There's more than enough money. And it's not dependent on things like, oh, I got to have a great FICO. No, it's dependent on you having a business checking account, having a business idea plan, something that you have executed. There's another one. The ramp, but down now. This one, you don't want to mess with this one unless you have somewhere near $100,000 sitting in cash somewhere. Just they can be quote unquote easy to get into, but they want to see that you have some cash somewhere. But again, this one can also be very helpful. There's a number of these. It's not limited to, well, it's just limited by who you know and what you know, right? See, what's happening for you is that I'm going to give and continue to give you guys expert tools. You have to learn how to use them expertly. Remember, tool set, mindset, skill set. I can do this all day, but if you don't know how to use these tools in sequence, in order, and with the recipe, it doesn't really matter. All right. So now let's dive in deeper. Okay. But also, let me make sure you're still with me. If you're still with me, if you're excited, if you're happy that you're receiving information that you can actually take advantage on, what I want you to do is give me a big old thumbs up in the chat. I just need to know. I need to know, okay, that you're still here, that you're still paying attention, but more importantly, that you understand that you don't have a money problem. You have an idea problem. That's really what's happening. You don't have a money problem. You have an idea problem. You've just not had these ideas. And then just because you have an idea, see, here's what's happening. Some of you knew about some of the things that I'm saying, but now I'm putting them in sequence for you. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. And things are being unlocked for you. And here's what's deceptive. You can think you have it all at once. And it's not because I don't want to give it to you. It's because it just takes time for you to get it all. It just takes time. And there's nothing I can do about that. But okay, it is what it is. So I got to give you what I can give you when I can give it to you. So here we go. So now it's time to do some work. Now it's time to do some real work. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where those of you who are going to create what you said you want, this is where you guys are actually going to do the thing. I want you to get your phone. and I want you to send a text message. I'm going to tell you exactly what to send. I want you to send a text message to at least, notice what I just said, at least. What does at least mean? It means this number, no less. 25 people. Now, let me tell you how to choose these 25 people. Inside your phone, if your phone's like mine, it has this thing that does A to Z, and then maybe it's got some numbers, 1, 2, 3. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna start at A and number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get where I'm going? The first 25 lucky people in your phone. See, I just scared you right now. Now you're like, now this is where it goes. I'll do 3. Okay. And then what'll happen is that you'll say things like, well, Jay, I did what you said and it didn't work. And I'm going to say, how many people did you send a text message to? Well, I thought remember what I said earlier? Somebody's ideas between mine and yours are proven to create the result you're looking for. Choose. So I said the first 25. Okay? And here's what you're going to here's what you're going to do. You're going to send them a text message. That text message is going to say, this is their name. Then you're going to put your name. Hold on, let me make this bigger so you can see it. Then you're going to put your name. Okay, you got that? So far, we've got the answers. You know this. Name, then your name. Here. That's the word you're going to write. I am in a training right now for my new, and if it's not new, you're going to write the word expanding business, providing temporary housing. Now watch, I'm gonna keep going. I know it's been a while since we've talked. But I need your help. I am looking, now watch this, guys, for a person. Well, you know what? I'm gonna make this harder for you to do. It'll be more fun for me. I'm looking for people who would like to use their old, hear what I'm saying, their old 401k to earn an additional $10K to $25K this year. I'm sure this is a long shot. But do you happen to know anyone like this? Happen to know anyone who has an old 401k at an old job? Now, I wrote it out very long, intentional, so that you can have all of the pieces. You can, if you want, I will permit. Put this into ChatGPT and ask it to make this shorter. Okay? Make this shorter. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But I want you to send that to 25 people. Now, if you leave it as is, you'll get a better response. Make it shorter. They're going to have a few more questions. That's fine. But I want you to send that to 25 people. To be specific, the first 25 people. Okay. What is going to come back for most of you is at least another $100,000. You're like, what do you mean? You don't know those 25 people? You are right. I don't need to know them. I know the average dollar amount in balances in 401ks. I know what happens when people leave jobs. I know how frequently people leave jobs and they leave the money behind. You probably are suddenly remembering that you have one of these yourself. And what I'm saying to you is, we're going to help investors too. We're going to help investors by creating them. We're going to literally create investors right in front of you. And this is what I am talking about. But see, if you don't tell people you're in business, they will never know. They can never help you, right? And if you don't ask for help, you're not going to get it. And here's the truth of the matter. If you don't want to do this, don't. But then know that you have to play by the rules of the game as taught or said by the person with the money. I can't help you get around the rules, so to speak, other than to say, build your own list. That is the best way to do it. That is the best way to do it. Not shortcutting. You can try to shortcut and it won't work. I am telling you now. Remember what I said yesterday. Before something works for you, it must first work on you. This is the beginning of the work on you part. And I want you to get the investors. If you do this before the end of this week is over, you'll have at least one investor conversation. Literally this week. Okay? You'll have your first investor. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to get your first 2 landlords. 2 of them. Do you hear what I'm saying? So what does that mean? That means what you don't know has always hurt you. Because see, what I am telling you to do isn't something you couldn't have done yesterday or the day before. The problem is you might not have had the complete recipe. You might not have known what to do. Today, in a very short period of time, I've shown you how to find that you, first of all, I clarified for you, you need guests, you need locations, you need customers, locations, and you got to get those finances. I've shown you ways to do it yourself with certain financing companies. I've shown you that, hey, guess what? How to go find landlords, right? It's right here, right here. But you know what? You have to make the call. I can't make it for you. So until I need you to reserve judgment. Go do what I said to find the investors. And then we're going to do something very similar to help you have the 25 calls that you need to make for landlords. And you're going to get better at it. Because see, the first time you tried anything, you weren't that good. You sucked. Every master was once a disaster. Same is true here. It's practice, drill, rehearse. There is no circumventing that part of the process. It is not easier because your friend, your realtor, your girlfriend, they said, I could do this. Sure. And you can have their results. And I'm not saying, I don't know what their results are, but here's what I am saying. If their results aren't capable, if their system isn't capable of getting you to where you want to go, and let me remind you, what we are talking about is taking your annual income or revenue, turning that into monthly, and then doing that on 1 hour per day. Said another way, if your friend who you are listening to says to you, I've never heard of anything like this, then that means you're in the right place, because they don't know what I am telling you. They haven't achieved what I'm saying. You're looking for an easier way to quote unquote try to do the same thing. In medicine, there's a name brand, and then there's the generic. We're the name brand. Okay? And it's just a choice. What we're here to do is to help you become a 7-figure family. Period. We've done it before. You believing that or not will not stop us from doing it again. It'll stop us from doing it for you, but that has to do with your focus. Do you believe the outcome will be in your favor or not? Because if you do, you're probably already making it happen. You're excited to make it happen. You're looking forward to the results. For those of you in the VIP, that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. The results. That's called accountability, meaning we're not going to have a lot to talk about if you don't send these text messages. That's going to be a problem. I certainly hope that you do, because while it sounds like, while it's uncomfortable, understand, I know that it's uncomfortable. I also don't care that you're uncomfortable, because there's no way to do this comfortably. It's not going to get more comfortable to wait and do it tomorrow. In fact, some of you might not even come back now. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. That's okay. What it comes down to is that those of you who do, those of you who could keep showing up for yourself and your family, will help you take the next step. We're going to keep helping you take the next step and keep helping you take the next step. And let me remind you, buying the property makes you less money. It is not easier. It just makes sure that you do not grow as much as you need to personally in order to achieve the same result. You will not have the same result. You cannot use different ingredients and have the same cake. You just can't. All of it is mathematically provable, therefore scientifically provable. This is the best way, fastest way for you to get to where you want to go. And tomorrow, that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep helping you get to where you say you want to go. Well, you now know what you need to do. I think I've been very clear. You need to know. You need to do what I said. Make the text message, do the thing. You can't learn and look good at the same time. See how everything that I've been saying to you suddenly like compounds and adds on and adds on and adds on. And now you're like, but what about? And I'm like, yeah, none of that matters, because none of it matters. Right? But what does matter is your focus. And I want you to give yourself a shot. Think of the outcome being in your favor. Okay? Think of the outcome being in your favor. We're going to continue to attack these mindset barriers. Tomorrow, we're going to get you some landlords, right? That's what we're really going to do. So that means day one, you had, who you were going to serve. Day two, You were able to figure out the goals and how many units and where you need them. Today, now you have access to get the money. Next, you're gonna have access for the location. You got access for the location. You already get the customers. You got the money. You got, okay. We're approaching that point to where you begin to say to yourself and to the marketplace, yes, I'm actually serious, or not. And you have to rub up against the who you believe yourself to be. That's what's happening. You're rubbing up against that. Well, I don't do things that way. That's true. And you get those results that go with doing things differently than what I am saying. And then sometimes we say to ourselves, well, I don't want that. Okay. I don't want that. I don't want that anymore then. Fine. But honestly, be true to yourself as we go through. Okay. What was the question? It flashed real fast. I missed it. What about existing HELOCs, or is this not the right answer? It's not a wrong answer. It just doesn't help you develop the skill set I know you need long term. I told you, I said this earlier. I said, some of you, you're going to use your own money. And I was like, great, use it. And you're still going to end up right here, learning how to use other people's resources. Just because you have these things doesn't mean, oh, I did it easier because I already have these things, I'll be fine. No, you're delaying the skill you need to learn. You're not getting around it. You're just not. Because what you need to accomplish, what it is that you want to do, is more than the resources you have. Simple as that. And I want to be very clear. Those of you with perfect credit scores, congrats. But understand, that is not an advantage to anything I said today. And that's intentional. Remember, I came from squatting and bank-owned property. So I know how to do this without your precious 800 FICO, 700 FICO, whatever you hold so dear. Hold it. Perfect. And it will only slow you down because you are afraid and you don't even know how to use it. There's so much that happens when you gain the skill set. I want you to get the skill set. You need to know how to fish. Period. And I'm telling you what to do step by step. It's a proven recipe. It's worked for people in so many different countries. It's not even funny. And like I said, I already know the numbers. Some of you aren't going to do it. That's fine. Some of you are. Some of you are going to do it halfway, and then you're like, well, I'll try this much, but no further. And some of you are just going to dive straight in, and you're going to be amazed at what happens. And then what's going to happen is that there are other people who are here with you right now. They're going to look at you and go, wait, you just did it? And then you're going to have made so much progress. They're going to be like, wow. And then they're going to call that person lucky. I know, I hear it all the time. Anyway, as I said before, reach out. Your concierge will be reaching out to you. Don't forget, because we want to find out more about what you got going on, helping you move forward faster. That's our job. That's our goal. That's what we do here, is to create 7-figure families. And at the end of the day, tomorrow we're going to be talking about landlords. Then we're going to talk about what next steps look like. But ultimately, Rome is not built in a day. And you only have a little bit of homework right now. Just go get started. Send those text messages. I will see you guys in the VIP for those of you who are there. And I'm looking forward to hearing about the growth that happens to you today. Talk to you soon.